Be sure to subscribe for more content.
What is up, ladies and gents? Welcome to the BigBC Finance Channel, and I hope you're having a lovely day. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about Luna Classic, what has happened to it recently, as well as where I predict the price to go to in the near future with some key price levels and some trades I'm looking to make. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. And of course, if you appreciate these daily analysis videos here on Luna, then be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. So without further ado, let's get into this one. So let's get those annotations back up and let's see what has happened over the past few days. So just to keep things brief, basically we saw a rising wedge, which I did call out in my previous videos. I saw developing here on Luna Classic, and we did break below that. So of course, the implication of a rising wedge like this is always a break to the downside. And that break to the downside we saw, and we reached our price target, and that was all ahead of our inflation data. So inflation data came out yesterday. I did do a live video, basically my reaction to when the inflation data came out. So if you want to see that in real time, then I'll link the video to that somewhere in this video. But basically that candle there, this 1 hour candle, was when that inflation data came out. So really a lot of volatility in this range. So the inflation data on the surface looked pretty bad. Of course, the core inflation rate came up to its highest level in, what was it, like 40 years or something. But we saw this reaction here where the hours afterwards we saw the price come back, and it's not just Luna Classic as well that saw the price basically retrace completely. We saw Bitcoin do the same thing as well. So again, on the 1 hour chart here, we saw the inflation data come around here, tanking the price from nearly 19,000 all the way down to 18,100, 18,200. But then shortly after, the price completely retraced all the way back up to basically 20,000. Incredible. Same with the stock market in general. The S&P here, for example, we see that this candle here opened a lot lower. So when the inflation data came out, the stock market was still closed and it opened way down here. But within the next few hours, the price completely retraced and then some here on the S&P. So it was a good day yesterday after all. And so that's why I think we're seeing things rally right now. And of course, I'm showing you Bitcoin and S&P because everything's going to be quite correlated at the moment. Obviously, after a massive event like the CPI data coming out, price action is generally going to be correlated wherever you look. So whether you're looking at Luna Classic, whether you're looking at Bitcoin, Dogecoin, wherever you look at, there's going to be some correlation between the price action. So it's going to be important to see what Bitcoin does next. And basically with Bitcoin at the moment, we're in a very interesting area because really we're at a make or break point on Bitcoins. But as you can see, we're by these two resistances at the moment, this blue one and this purple one, which have both been a support level here in Bitcoin for the longest time now. So at the moment, we're really holding onto it as our resistance at the moment. And if we can break above that, then chances are Luna Classic will do something similar. Because here on Luna Classic, we're at an interesting area ourselves as well. So we're really close to this resistance line at the moment. We're kind of homing in on it. We've come down to test this support, and again, we've tested the support and the price has just massively bounced back up. So, buyers are using this level to kind of buy Luna Classic. And rightly so, because this yellow line here is probably one of the most respected support resistance lines that we have here on Luna Classic. If you just zoom out to back in September as well, the amount of times this line has been a support and resistance is just been crazy. It's so many times where the price has come to test it. So it's always a good idea, when the price comes down to buy Luna Classic. And I do think traders have been doing that as well. Therefore, we've seen the price jet up as soon as this yellow line is touched. So that's the first really bullish sign we have here on Luna Classic. I told you about a scenario where there wasn't a lot of liquidity in these areas due to that volume profile that I showed you in my previous videos. So there was a chance that we could see the price go below this yellow line, and that would have been game over in the sense that we could have seen the price go down to 22 or 18 cents. But the fact that we're above this line is really bullish. Technically speaking as well, if I show you this, and I've talked about this in my previous video, but if you haven't seen it, basically what we're seeing as well is a definite bullish divergence here on Luna Classic. We're seeing this here where the MACD lows are getting higher, so we can draw a line connecting the lows that goes in an upwards direction. But if we use this yellow line as reference, this is going in a downwards direction. So this is a bullish divergence here, and this indicates that there could be a change of trend very shortly. Now, the trend at the moment for Luna Classic is bearish because, we're following this channel. So if you look at this blue line as a resistance, this yellow line as a support, this is just generally going in a downwards direction, so we're still heading down, we're still heading in a bearish direction, but a bullish divergence hints that the change of trend could come. So of course it's not a signal in its own right, but it can warn us of things to come in the near future. So for me, if we break through this blue line here, for example, here on Luna Classic, so say the price does something like this, and then we see momentum as we go through that resistance there, then this to me is a change of trend. We've broken out through this resistance here, and now we're no longer bound by this channel. And of course, it would be nice to see an increase in volume as well. So if we see a lot of momentum, we see a lot of volume as we break out through that resistance, then, traders, investors here in Luna Classic see this change of trend as justified, and therefore we should be following a new trend here on Luna Classic. And of course, therefore from that point I will be more bullish. So this is something I'm really looking at in the near future here. And to support my theory on that, if we have a look at this area, for example, we can see that the price did touch this yellow line 3 times in these 3 regions, and those 3 times it got touched. Have a look at what the MACD did. We have this bullish divergence once again, and what happened after this bullish divergence here on the MACD formed? Well, we saw the price follow a new trend. We went from this downwards direction, this shorter term downwards direction, to this more bullish direction supported by this blue support that we have here. So this resulted from a bullish divergence from the MACD and the price, which was in this kind of bearish channel bound by this purple line here and this yellow support. And all of a sudden, after this bullish divergence, we started following a new trend bound by the blue line as our support. So to me, this gives the MACD bullish divergence more weight here. So when we do see the price cross this resistance with a lot of volume and support and momentum, then that is going to be a very bullish sign that we're going to be in a more bullish direction for Luna Classic. So that's one of the main things I'm looking at here at Luna Classic. Of course, in terms of the short-term price movement, we do look like we could be forming some sort of triangle that looks like this. Of course, if we break, this is the 1 hour chart, so if this triangle is respected, the price doesn't fall below where I've drawn the purple line, for example, then we can see a decision made by the end of today. And both scenarios I do not think is bad. So if we do break through the triangle on the upside, then of course that supports my theory. A lot of volume, a lot of momentum. The price will be reaching this kind of level up here. So again, if we break out of this triangle on the bullish side, we break through that resistance, we could be following a new trend, and our price target there is 30.1 cents here on Luna Classic. And if we break below the downside of this triangle here, then that'll give us a price target of around 26.8 cents. Of course, if we do go lower, then I do think that's not even a bad sign, because even if we get down to here, for example, and then go back up, so we're just bouncing within this channel, for example, this triangle is respected and we break to the downside, but we keep on going, then the momentum of this downwards movement I don't think will be that strong. And what we will probably see on the MACD is something that looks like this. So we get a low on the MACD that is higher than the low that we saw in this inflation rate area. And if we see this, then this builds up the MACD even more. So obviously at the moment we have 2 points on the bullish divergence on the MACD, and obviously the more times this bullish divergence, this support line on the bullish divergence is touched, the more reliable this signal is going to be that a change of trend will be imminent. So the bearish case is that the price comes down to this 26.8 and then keeps on going afterwards, but that's not even particularly bearish, because that's going to warn us, because that's telling us that a change of trend is going to be even more imminent in the future. So I'm really excited about what's going to be happening here at Luna Classic because of this. And of course, we're really close to this resistance line, so that's really good. And of course, we have buyers here on Luna Classic that are buying up the prices every time they come close to this yellow line. So another good thing that I'm going to be doing is placing some limit buy orders just close to this yellow line here, because every time the price comes down to this line, it's bounced straight back up. So ever since we came up here on the 1st of October, have a look at the amount of times the price has come back down, and every single time what has it done is just shot back up. So something that I'm going to be doing is just placing a limit buy order. So if the price were to ever come down to this level, then it would automatically execute a buy order in the premise that if we come down to these levels, we're going to come back up a certain degree. So that's another trade that I'm looking here to make, and that's obviously if we ever get down to those levels again. At the moment, things are looking bullish. We're close to this resistance line here. Of course, the bullish case scenario is we break out of this triangle, and I think this triangle is the most prominent thing that I'm seeing here. So something bound by this blue line and this purple line here. If we do break out, we could see the price get to around 30.1 cents by the end of the day, and if we break below this triangle, then we could see it around 26.8 cents. And of course, on top of everything, we're going to be looking at what Bitcoin does as well. At the moment, we're very close to these resistances, so we could get quite a sharp rejection here on Bitcoin. So if we get to that blue line, for example, then we could get the price rejected all the way. We could get rejected and we could come down quite sharply. But if we do break through this resistance, then we could be shooting up higher. Of course, this is supported by what we see here on the Fibonacci lines of Bitcoin. So have a look at this fib, for example, the top of this peak here on the 5th of October to the very bottom down here. This price hugs this 0.786 fib there. So if we can break through these lines and we break through that fib, then our next price target could be 20,400 on Bitcoin. And of course, Luna Classic will probably follow with that bullish case scenario I said. And if we zoom out and we draw a fib from this September 13 high of 22,700 and draw it to our low down here at 18,100. And so again, look at the price just hug that fib level. That's 0.382 fibs. So these fibs, you cannot underestimate them whatsoever. Look at how the price respects that dearly. So we could get to a price target of 20,470, 20,500 or so, which is exactly the same price target as the other set of fibs that I drew as well. So absolutely insane to see these fib levels. I just wanted to show you this because, like I say, Luna Classic, Bitcoin, there's going to be some correlation since a lot of the price action will be a reflection of the inflation data. So very interesting to see there, see what Bitcoin does when we touch these two resistances that I've drawn here, as well as at 19,900 fib. If we can break through that, then we're going to be able to see very bullish price movement on Luna Classic as well. But if we get rejected by these levels and we come back down, then, you know, I think we could see the same on Luna Classic, but that is not that bearish at all because of this bullish divergence we're going to be seeing on the MACD. So that's all I have to say in this video. I'm really looking forward to what happens here on Luna Classic. I do think things are going to be very bullish for Luna Classic in the near future. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you do have anything to add to my analysis, do drop a comment down below. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video.